take these out of the basket.
Yeah, I was just. I'm gonna do
Oh, she's like doing something else.
No, but it's just funny
You
that
did not know I was going to call you.
Spiritually, I count myself a prophet.
Psychic.
I count myself a prophet. Psychic, you love it all. We'll take it all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, down here. Yeah.
And it's actually Dana with the long
Dana
hair.
with that long hair.
I'm an English reading intervention teacher for little ones. I sat there contemplating the story that I would tell. It's one I've been working on. I'm a teacher. Anybody who knows me knows that. I'm also a stand-up, so I work, at the same thing. But interestingly enough, about being a teacher, I didn't want to be one. Like as a kid, I wanted to be on television. Growing up in Huntsville, Alabama, and New Orleans, Louisiana, it didn't seem possible. But I did well in what we now call STEM, but in the 70s it was just math and science, and computers were coming along. But I struggled with reading. I was always, I have a twin sister. She is a doctor, and I'm a comic. But we both excelled at math and science. We did not necessarily excel at writing papers and learning all the rules of grammar, or, we comma spliced to death, literally. And she fared better than I, but it was just really a struggle for me. But I became strong in math. So it has been an absolute surprise that after having to become a teacher so that I can support all the other things I want to do, I started out as a math teacher. I love algebra, like with all my heart, but I have become what's called a reading intervention teacher for K through second grade. And it's not special education, which I've actually also taught, but it's just kind of a way that we fill in the gap. When kids have low test scores or are not on grade level, then people like me are on staff to close the gap. And again, I taught math first. I taught high school for years. I never thought I would teach children, small children, but it turns out to be a joy. It turns out to be a joy because now at the age of 57, anything older than 7 or 8, I would either kick or tussle with anyway. And I used to think that I would enjoy teaching third graders until I did, and they are disrespectful, like middle school disrespectful. But I have these precious kindergarten through second graders, and they have a lot of mouth, and they've watched a lot of social media. They know that they're cute, demure, and mindful even in the first grade. But the thing about teaching, the cliche that people say that's true, or about adulthood, and definitely about teaching, you get to be the adult or the teacher that you never had or that you didn't think you had. So I'm very grateful because I get to be that. I'm a Gen Xer squarely, and we grew up in what I think was a very confusing time. And whatever meaning our parents tried to make of things, I think the myths, and we'll call them myths, did us a disservice. The ways in which they tried to explain everything or comfort everything. There was always the myth possibility that you get this story. I mean, and some of our biggest, obviously I grew up Christian, but we all grew up with Santa Claus, and we all grew up with the Easter Bunny and all the things. And even the Bible itself, it has a lot of mythological aspect to it, even if we believe it all. But teaching kinder means that, and teaching first grade means that you are presented with any number of things on a given daily basis. And I had 2 first graders in front of me. I'm looking for the clock, I'm looking for the light, I'm looking for everything. I had 2 first graders in front of me, and they were having a conversation like they do. And they're little chocolate girls, little black girls. And she was like, "Girl, I heard you leaving school early today." She said, "Yeah, girl, my mom was picking me up." "You going to a funeral?" "No, girl, I'm going to the after party." Because in these modern times, to a first grader, the repast is the after party. So she says, "Girl, my uncle died." This is first grade. I think I'm always astounded at their context and at the ways in which they have conversation. She said, "Girl, my uncle died." Then she looks at me and she says, "Miss Keel, why everybody gotta die? I don't want to die." I look at her and say, "I don't want to die either, but we are all going to die." Because I figure, why lie? You know what I'm saying? And I feel strongly about clarity. I feel strongly about hard truth in a compassionate way. And our children now, whether these babies are Gen Alpha, but whether even if it's an older Gen Z, everybody deserves clarity. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it was important to be as clear about this. Nobody wants to die. We are all going to die. Like, that is unavoidable. Because I teach reading in 4 steps. She literally looked at me, she said, okay, and resumed her worksheet. Do you know what I'm saying? But my mother died when I was 11. And the things that they told us about her death were, I'm just gonna use the word mythological. Because we grew up spiritual, religious, missionary Baptist in Huntsville, Alabama. Well, if she could come back, she wouldn't. She loves you very much, but she's in heaven now. She's in a better place now. She misses you and she loves you very much now. But at 11, which is not as old as we think it is, and it is also not as young as we think it is, I needed more clarity than that. You know what I'm saying? And to the point where something as clear as death felt confusing, you know? Because then I began living a life not suicidal, not depressed, but waiting on the day that I would see her again. People do not give you a context for heaven. And when you know that someone whom you know what they look like dies and someone says you will see her again, I'm looking for big brown eyes and brown cheeks and a bump and press and curl. And at 11, I have to reconcile that that's not what I'm going to see. But at 11, I'm not reconciling that. I'm looking at pictures for the rest of my life until 40s and 50s and all these things. And so for me, that moment, to just be able to look a 7-year-old in her eyes and simply say, in the softest, hardest truth possible, we are all going to die. None of us are going to make it out. Do you know what I'm saying? Meant everything to me. I mean, I have this 1 minute to even learn the lesson. My son's father passed away when he was 8, turning 9. So I had not 1, but 2 chances to understand what felt like an existential crisis. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was just my privilege and my honor to be able to tell a 7-year-old very simply and very easily, I don't want to die either, but we are all going to die. I'm Dana Keel, that's my time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tell me again how to pronounce your name.
Dana with the long
Dana.
name.
See, I'm gonna learn a lot today.
I'm just hoping I hit record. That's all I'm.
That was great. I hope you
Okay.
recorded it.
Okay.
Oh, you did. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, that was very profound.